We are sure you've been wondering why the prices of PCs have been through the roof in 2020. Fortunately, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the reason why the prices have increased and much more about the shortage of silicon. Hello and welcome to TechSpot, and without wasting any time, let's begin with today's video. Why did PC prices go up? Well, let's understand a simple concept first. The price of any substance or product is determined by its supply, so in simple terms, when the supply goes down, the demand increases and hence the prices start to shoot upwards rapidly. Exactly what happened in this case. Since there was a shortage of the PC parts like CPUs and graphics cards, fridges and even cars, it only makes sense that the prices went through the roof. What is silicon and where does it come from? Silicon, as many of you may know, is a chemical compound that is a tetravalent metalloid and semiconductor of electricity. It is a tough, fragile, or crumbly crystalline solid with a bluish-gray metallic shine. Do you know where silicon actually comes from? If you do, tell us your answer by commenting down below. And if you don't, we're here to help you out. Silicon is obtained from silica, which is derived from sand. The manufacturing of silicon is a multi-stage process with numerous steps. Because of this time-consuming procedure, silicone rubber is more expensive than natural rubber. To comprehend what silicone is, you must first comprehend the many varieties of rubber that are accessible. Natural rubber is more generally known as latex and originates directly from a rubber tree in its purest form. Anything that isn't manufactured from natural rubber is referred to as synthetic. The polymer is classified as an elastomer if it has elastic characteristics. A synthetic polymer is a novel substance created by combining different elements. Silicone is often classified as a synthetic elastomer because it is a viscoelastic polymer, meaning it has both viscosity and elasticity. You might be wondering why something that could have been found in abundance is now having a shortage, which is affecting numerous fields. Well, stick around until the end of the video to find out. TSMC and how this shortage affects Samsung. Two companies that produce chips are Samsung and TSMC, or Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Samsung entrusts the physical fabrications of their chips to Taiwanese company TSMC. The largest semiconductor producer in the world is TSMC. Over 70% of top-of-the-line chips now travel through its plants. Remember that these days the entire world operates on chips. TSMC, on the other hand, is one of the few chip makers capable of producing the cutting-edge processors that Apple and most automakers require. As far as Samsung is concerned, for the 3 months ending in June, the world's largest memory chip and smartphone maker predicted an operational profit of $11 billion, or 8 billion pounds. It went on to claim that high demand for memory chips had compensated for lower device sales owing to component shortages. Samsung's phone and television sales plummeted in the first few months of the epidemic a year ago. Since then, as more people have moved more of their lives online, demand for electronics components has increased and many chip producers have struggled to keep up. The South Korean electronics behemoth's projection is easily above experts' estimates, indicating the technology sector's sustained growth. If the statistics are confirmed later this month, Samsung's second quarter earnings will be the highest since 2018, which is crazy. During the historic supply bottleneck, computer chip producers in particular have had far more flexibility to raise their prices in recent months. There is a significant mismatch in supply and demand of semiconductors in the IT sector globally, Samsung's co-chief executive and mobile leader Ko Dong-jin told shareholders in March. He also stated that the firm was working with international partners to satisfy demand due to supply interruptions caused by worldwide shortages. If you're interested in liking this video, give it a quick like by clicking the thumbs up button and subscribe for more such content. Alright, let's move on. So why is there a global shortage of silicon and how long will it last? Well, since all of this majorly took place in 2020, most of you might have the idea that this took place because of COVID-19. Since there were restrictions the manufacturing facilities might have had to abide by, a shortage could have been inevitable. It was a reasonable assumption. With firms like Apple reducing their expected sales, many clever individuals made the same assumption. But the supply of these semiconductors was only disrupted briefly, and COVID did not really have a huge role to play in its shortage. For practically the whole year of 2020, they have been producing more CPUs and GPUs than ever before. So why are the Ryzen 5900X and Nvidia's RTX 3080 unobtainium weapons-grade processors? If you ask us the real reason, it can be answered in one sentence. There was a shortage because people just couldn't stop buying them. Yes, you heard it right. The whole work-from-home scenario forced people to throw out the old e-machines that they had not used for years and instead buy new ones. From the youngest members to the oldest ones, these devices almost became mandatory. As a result, 2020 saw the largest growth in the PC market in over a decade. Devices such as Chromebooks were tracked differently, and get this, they saw a whopping 200% increase in shipments. If that doesn't shock you, we don't know what will. If you're thinking, when will this end? We luckily do have an answer for you. Several of our experts predict that the worst shortages will begin to lessen in the third or fourth quarters of 2021, albeit the resulting chips may take much of 2022 to make their way through the supply chain to products. The supply relief will come from old chip fabs and foundries, using processes far from the cutting edge and on comparatively tiny silicon wafers, rather than from the large national investments in the works right now by South Korea, the US, and Europe. One possible stumbling block on the way to resolving the shortage is that some of the surge in demand appears to be due to customers who are placing multiple orders to stock up on supplies. According to Bharat Kapoor, lead partner Americas in the high-tech practice of global strategy and management consulting company Kearney, the car sector needs to do more than merely stock up. To avoid future shortages, the chip sector and car executives need a more direct relationship in the future, he adds, so that supply and demand signals are clearer. Do you think the conditions would increase, and how long could that take? We would love your opinions in the comments section below. What branches has it affected the most? This shortage has highly affected two sectors, automotive and graphics. Major automakers, including Nissan and Honda, began warning shareholders in February that sales would likely fall short of forecasts. As we previously stated, manufacturers were unable to produce some cars because they were unable to obtain the silicon chips such as processors and other semiconductor components required to start the vehicles rolling off the assembly lines. Meanwhile, the computer sector was having a banner year in the same month. Laptop sales increased by 90% year over year. After a lengthy period of decline, tablet sales had begun to improve. The desktop computers and printers were flying off shelves and into delivery vehicles. So, how did one industry struggle while the other prospered? The explanation is that they were both trapped in a perfect storm, with one sector standing prepared while the other did not. This storm brought three forces together on an unready world: the unreliability of a global supply chain on which both industries were critically reliant, the geopolitical imperatives of the US-China relationship, and a pandemic that, more or less overnight, changed the way large parts of the industrialized world worked. JIT is reliant on a supply chain that is efficient, dependable, and stable. Everything comes to a standstill if that chain breaks. This is true whether the component is a gearbox or a silicon chip, and chips, particularly in engine management units of cars, have become critical to the operation of even the most basic petrol or diesel car in the last 2 decades. We're on the verge of a world in which automobiles are essentially computers on wheels, but it's already crisis time if the appropriate chips don't arrive. Do you think this shortage is capable of affecting any more industries? If so, tell us by commenting which one you think it might be. And that's it, folks. That's all we have for you guys today regarding the shortage of silicon. Did you find this video informative? If you did, please share the video with your companions to start an interesting conversation. We hope to see you again soon in another one of our videos, and until then, stay safe and happy. Thanks for stopping by, guys, and we'll see you next time.